minutes. The previous one took 28 minutes, but things aren't going well for them. Dominate, let's start with you. Why do you think this game went the way it did?
I just feel like XDG took the first loss really hard. Like, after they went to that first red buff fight, you could tell that every fight after that, even in game 2, they weren't confident going into the fights. They would start the fights with like weird TPs or like with like maybe a one-man Ori ult or a Lee Sin kick that's not really in the right position. It just feels like they aren't confident in fighting, and they're a fighting-based team. So I don't really know where they go from here.
Scar?
I think XDG's notoriously been the team that got leads in the early game and closed it out. And right now it looks like they're not getting any leads, and they don't have a better team fight. Like, they don't have the team synergy to be able to close out a game. It's looking really poor for them right now.
So what's happening with XDG then? How are they not able to come out on top in any of the early game engagements?
It just seems like I don't even feel like the very early team fights they're losing terribly because I feel like the teamwork is just not there. Like, they don't team fight correctly. And the way that, again, I agree with Dom, the way that they come into team fights is really strange. Like, there's a random TP in, or just like their positioning is really poor, or just how they expect a team fight. Like, no one's on the same page. They're not all peeling back like at the same time, or they're not all committing at the same time. So just a weird smodge podge of people, and then it just feels very lackluster to watch.
All right, let's actually take it all the way back to picks and bans, though. After game 1, Dominate said he wanted 2 mid lane bans against Xiao Xiao. Xiao had 3. They went with 2. They went with the Nidalee ban and the Soraka ban.
Okay.
As far as picks and bans kind of went, with Nocturne being first pick for LMQ, how did that play out? Was it an advantage for XDG or LMQ?
I personally like the pick ban phase from LMQ significantly more. When you have Nocturne and then you're playing into the Lee Sin, it puts this timer on the game as jungler, where the Lee Sin knows that if he doesn't make plays within the first maybe 5-6 minutes, he's going to be behind. It's not going to be possible for him to engage on the Nocturne. Spell Shield is so good against Lee Sin because it blocks 2 abilities, generally speaking, if you can block the first one. So straight off pick bans, I think that XDG was behind, and then throughout the game, they just weren't able to make any of the plays they needed to pull out advantages.
Yeah, you guys actually said 6 minutes. If Smithy doesn't make a good gank happen before 6 minutes, then they were kind of doomed. Did you see that play style for them, or were they just lackadaisical the whole time?
They just weren't there. Like, I feel like, yeah, I agree. If they don't get a kill within 6 minutes with Lee Sin, they auto lose the game, and they just did.
Yeah, I mean, we could kind of see that actually in a fairly early fight onto the game, about 17 minutes, 30 seconds, where this was kind of the last chance they had because they were already down about 3,000 gold. If we could get that up on the screen, I want you guys to walk us through why this fight in particular went wrong for XDG.
So I definitely think that the main problem here is that they start the Dragon. They're not really committed to fighting or turning here. They're kind of just waiting for LMQ to position the perfect fight, which is something that they obviously don't want to take. And as you see, like, it opens up, they aren't even able to get a shockwave throughout the whole fight because there just isn't any opening. There isn't any time where he feels comfortable putting the ball in between people and he feels like the shockwave is going to make an impact in the fight. So really, I think that fight came down to them starting Dragon when they didn't have the best advantage and just misplaying the fight from there.
So is that fight more about ManCloud dropping the ball, or was it LMQ just finding a situation which XDG couldn't fight back against?
I think their team position was just poor. Like, I agree with Dom that they shouldn't have started the Dragon. And just like the fan out from LMQ was really good. Like, they sent the Shiv in early, got a 3-man knockup with Lulu, and they were able to space out the Ori with Nocturne pressure for her to be unable to find an ulti. And it was on ManCloud to be able to find an opening, but it's also on his team to be able to peel backwards correctly and not like forced in that kind of situation. And they forced into a Twitch, which is pretty much guaranteed that you're just gonna lose a team fight.
Yeah, and there's something I wanted to point out there is even though it looks like they started the Dragon and they were making a play with a lot of initiative, it was actually a reactionary-based play. They saw TF hovering around mid, and they know that if they don't commit to the Dragon, they're just going to lose their mid turret. So they're kind of in this situation where they're like, oh, we don't really know what to do. There doesn't seem to be a good option. Just start Dragon, and maybe we get into a profitable fight.
And is there any way, really, you see them coming back, maybe making some sneak plays, doing a different team composition? What are XDG's options coming into Game 3 to avoid a sweep?
It's really hard. Like, I just think they need to find early kills. Like, XDG has always been a team that snowballs off early kills, and that's what you really want to. You really want to put their players in positions where they're ahead. Like, I feel like ManCloud is like maybe like just okay if he's even, but if you give him like 1 kill or 2 kills, he goes off. And so it's up to Xmithy to set the pace of these games, and it sucks because Xmithy hasn't been able to find too much in the first 2 games.
He even had that one missed flash when everyone's playing a little bit off, and in this game in particular, actually, they did sneak the Baron. And we were kind of thinking maybe they could pull off a miracle here. But then their teamfight execution still wasn't there. Let's actually pull that one up on the screen as well. After they got the Baron around this time, Dominate, you can start here. What went wrong for XDG?
Here's another
They
fight
did get
where
the kick onto Vasily.
they do get a kick, but they're just so far behind here that it's just tough for them to fight. And I don't know exactly what happens to ManCloud, but he's not able to get a shockwave. He either got CC'd or something prevented him from being able to get a shockwave. And just not getting an Ori shockwave when you're this far behind, there's pretty much no way you can win a fight without that.
Yep. That should have been something where, like, that was just poor communication. Like, I look at that, I'm like, well, where's the teamwork in that? As soon as the Lee Sin tells the team that he's looking for a kick, they should immediately be like, they should immediately know that he's looking for the kick. The kick was actually really good. If they had immediately give Vasily there that stops the push and they have Baron, they're able to turn it out for another 5 minutes. But unfortunately, like, Vasily gets kicked into melee range of Ori and just like kills Ori in 3 hits. And it's like, well, they definitely messed up there.
Yeah, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, though, but with a 2-0 down in a best-of-5, there's a pretty good chance that LMQ is going to be making it into the LCS. With all the hype behind them in the Challenger Series, not necessarily playing against the LCS caliber teams, where do you really see them stacking up if they make it in?
I think right now they're in the middle of the road. Like, I don't really see them taking games off the top 3 right now, like consistent games. I definitely don't see them taking games off C9, like more than like one in like a best of 3. I think they're in the middle of the road, and once they get to LCS, it's up to them where they go.
Dominate?
Yeah, for me too, I'd say it's middle of the pack. Like, if I had to rank them right now, I'd say 4th, 5th. They'd probably be competing with us. Not able to necessarily consistently beat the top 3 teams, but just like a level above the bottom tier teams of the league. So I think they'd probably just be like 4th, 5th starting out, and from there they could either go up or down.
Yeah, so a 4th, 5th type LCS team who's playing against XG right now, who is sitting in the 8th seed. Remember, XG did beat every single team in the LCS once. Do they have a win for them in this series, do you think?
I think it's just down to Xmithy. Like, everything falls on the back of Xmithy. He needs to get the ball rolling, and it's just going to be really, really hard because overall their teamwork just has not been there this series.
All right, well, with that win, LMQ are just 1 win away from joining the North American LCS. And after the break, we'll see if they can get it done in Game 3 against XDG. We'll be right back.